You ever just watch a dolphin slice through the water and, wow, you're just totally mesmerized, right? There's this power, this grace that's fascinated us humans for, well, centuries. In this explainer, we're going to dive deep into that fascination. We'll look at our incredibly complex relationship with aquatic animals, how we're engineering robots to mimic their genius, how we partner up with them in sports and in healing, and how we're still debating the ethics of keeping them in captivity at all. What you're looking at here, it's more than just a beautiful animal swimming. It's a masterclass in efficiency. It's this perfect blend of biology and physics that we've admired forever. But here's the thing. Admiration isn't quite enough for us anymore. Now, we're driven to understand and maybe even replicate the genius behind that movement. And that's exactly where we're headed first. Because these days, our admiration has turned into aspiration. We're not just content to sit back and watch nature's genius anymore. We want to see if we can actually engineer it ourselves. So, why on earth would you build a robotic dolphin? Well, at its core, it's all about one word: efficiency. Real dolphins are absolute masters of using energy to move, and for decades, engineers have been trying to crack that code. This isn't just about making a cool toy. It's about learning from millions of years of evolution to build way better underwater tech. And you can see that leap from idea to reality right here. It's pretty amazing. On one side, you have the clean, perfect digital model on a computer screen. And then, bam! On the other side, there it is, the real thing, the physical prototype, actually being tested in the water. That's that magic moment when a blueprint learns how to swim. So, how do you get that incredibly lifelike, flexible movement? Well, it's a super meticulous process. It's part chemistry, part high-tech engineering. You mix these very specific silicone solutions, then you gotta stick the mixture in a vacuum chamber to pull out every last air bubble. Then you pour it into a custom 3D printed mold. After about 8 hours of curing, you pop it out and you've got a perfectly flexible artificial muscle. Now, this is where the design gets really, really clever. It's this brilliant compromise. All the delicate, sensitive stuff, the batteries, the motors, the controllers, the brains of the whole operation, they're all tucked away safely inside a rigid, waterproof head. And that leaves the entire tail section free to be soft, flexible, and powerful, just like the real deal. So, the secret sauce here is what the researchers call multi-flexibility. And it really just comes down to three things. First, you've got the soft silicone body. Then there's a cable system that acts kind of like tendons pulling on muscles. And finally, and this is crucial, a tunable 3D printed skeleton on the inside that they can change out really easily. And that last part, that design flexibility, is the real game changer. It means the engineers can rapidly 3D print and test out all these different internal skeletons, like the ones you see here. They can just keep tweaking the design over and over to find that perfect sweet spot between power and efficiency. And, they've got the data to prove it. Just take a look at this table. You've got speed on one side, and then you've got that COT column, which basically means cost of transport. With COT, a lower number is better. It means you're getting more bang for your buck, energy-wise. And as you can see, one of these designs just blows the others out of the water. Look at Type 4. Highest speed by a long shot and the lowest energy cost. Yep, we've got a clear winner. And here it is in action. The star of the show. This is Skeleton Type 4, cruising through the water. It's the culmination of all that design, all that testing, all that tweaking. It's pretty much the most successful attempt yet at capturing that amazing dolphin efficiency in a machine. Okay, so we're getting remarkably good at engineering animal movements. But this incredible new ability, it brings with it a much bigger, much more complicated question. As we get better at understanding animals, what exactly do we owe them? See, our interactions aren't just about imitation. We also partner directly with animals in the water. But these partnerships can look very, very different. So let's compare two examples. One is driven by the pure thrill of competition, and the other by the slow, gentle process of healing. First up, we're jumping into the high-energy world of dock dogs. And this isn't just a fun day at the park. This is a sanctioned international sport. It's a kind of partnership that's all about teamwork, athleticism, and really pushing the limits of what a dog and handler can do together. This slide really just lays it all out perfectly. It's like two sides of the same coin. On the left, you've got dock dogs. The goal is all external. Longest jump, fastest time, it's a high-stakes sport. Then, on the right, you have canine hydrotherapy. The goal there is all internal. to heal, to improve mobility back on dry land. It's a gentle therapeutic practice. Two aquatic partnerships with completely different endgames. And don't let the fun fool you. Dock dogs is a serious regulated sport. The rulebook is pretty extensive. There are age minimums for both the dogs and their handlers, strict time limits, and really clear rules about equipment and how you can handle your dog. It's all about ensuring safety and fair play. Now let's compare that to the principles behind hydrotherapy. Here, the focus is entirely on the science of healing. The water's resistance helps build back muscle. Its buoyancy takes all that painful pressure off aching joints. Even the water's temperature and its natural pressure are used to boost circulation and bring down swelling. This is a partnership built purely on care and recovery. The dogs in these sports and therapies, well, they seem like willing partners. They look like they're having a blast. But this whole idea of partnership forces us to ask a much more difficult question, one that takes us from the swimming pool right into the oceanarium. When does our interaction with an animal cross that line from partnership into imprisonment? And that brings us to, let's be honest, the most controversial part of our relationship with aquatic animals, the decades-long heated debate over keeping whales and dolphins in captivity. Is it a vital tool for public education, or is it, at its heart, a form of exploitation? So, the argument for captivity, which was laid out here back in 1984 by an ethics group for zoos and aquariums, is basically a cost-benefit analysis. They acknowledge that there are adverse effects to captivity, but they argue that on balance, those are outweighed by the good stuff, educating the public and helping people appreciate these amazing animals more. But then, just a few years later, a different group of thinkers came to a completely different conclusion. And this view, it's not about weighing pros and cons. It's a purely moral argument. They state that because these animals are intelligent, self-aware beings, they have a right to freedom. And because of that, captivity is, in their words, quite simply wrong. And this isn't just some philosophical debate. It has had major real-world consequences. An Australian Senate committee actually studied this whole issue and came to this conclusion. Their focus was all on animal suffering. They basically decided that even the possibility of the deprivation and suffering caused by captivity was too high a risk, and that ultimately led to a ban on capturing dolphins and whales in the state of Victoria. So we can engineer them, we can partner with them, and we can confine them. From robotics to rehab to the ethics of captivity, there's a common thread, right? It's human choice, human power, and human responsibility. For better or for worse, it seems we've become the managers of the natural world. And maybe the answer to all these really complex questions isn't purely scientific or philosophical. The biologist Victor Sheffer here suggests another path. He argues that our emotional connection, our sentiment, isn't something we should dismiss. In fact, it might be one of the most powerful and valid reasons we have for protecting these animals. And that brings us full circle. The same technology that lets us build a robot dolphin also gives us more power than ever over the real ones. From engineering their likeness to deciding their freedom, our choices are getting more complex every single day. So the fundamental question really isn't what we can do anymore, it's what we should do. How will we choose to use that power?